Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. Like you all know that previously we have started a function series like in C++ we have covered up many of the things using functions. So today in this video I will be telling you about what is function overloading. Like already we have covered up that if we are using functions with variables element or with array, so how we can do that. But now we will be understanding that if we are using function with overloading elements or structure, so how we can do that. So I hope you'll be understanding functions overloading in C++ from start in this tutorial video. So if you understand this video and if you enjoy how to use function overloading here in C++, remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell as well so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I will be uploading in future. And also share this video so more people can learn if they are starting with function, so how they can cover up this function overloading in C++. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's get started. So now we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you in the start that today I will be telling you about function overloading, like if we are starting with function overloading in C++. So basically what is function overloading, why we use in C++, and what is the work of this function overloading if we talk about it. So if we move here, so it is written here as function overloading, and with function overloading multiple functions can have the same name with different parameters. So simply in simple words you can say if you want to create multiple functions which will be having same name with parameters, so you can just use function overloading there. Like in example I have created one function with different name, like I have used this void value here as init which is integer, then in second function I have used a void value which is float, and in third function I have used a void value which is double. Means I want to return value from this function, that's why I have used these values. And now when I have used these values, after that in parameter I have written different values in all these three functions. Like in first function I have written a different value as initx, then in second function I have created another different value which is floatx, and in third also I have written two parameter value which is double x and double y, like this. Consider the following example which have two functions that add numbers of different type. So this will be the example in which you will have two functions that will add the numbers of different types, and in this first type you will be getting a function which will be as plus func init, which is a function name, and then in this function we have written two parameter which is initx and initY, and in this function we have called one return value which is x plus y. Then in second function we have called one value which is return x plus y, which is same value as we have written at the top. Means these two functions has been created with different name, means these two are different functions but we have added two same number in these values. So that's the thing, like we are getting which have two functions that add numbers of different type. We are getting two numbers which are of different type, but in numbers they are same, like this. Now if we move down, so we have created another function of main, which is most important function in which you will be calling all the function which you have created at the top. So first function which we will be calling here as plus func init, which we will be calling in init my num1, which is a string value which we have created, and in parameter I will be calling two things which will be 8 and 5. After that I will be creating another function of double my num, you can say a string, and then in that string I'll be calling my plus func double function in which I will be calling 4.3 and 6.26. These are the two numbers which I should be getting in my output because I have called these function in this function. Sorry, I have called these values in this function, that's why I will be getting these two things printed in my output. And after that I have used count, and in count I will be getting the init value. In init value you will be getting the first function printed as the output, and then in the second double value you will be getting the second double function as the output, and then in the end we will be returning the value as 0. Instead of defining two functions that use same thing, that should do the same thing, it is better to overload one. In the example below we overload the plus func function to work for both init and double. Means we have just overload this first function which we have created, and this first function has been overloaded with this function which is my function and which is plus func init. These two functions are being overloaded to each other, and after overloading these two functions we are getting all these functions printed as init and double because these two functions has been overloaded, and that's the thing. If we move down and if we want to overload the plus function to work with both init and double, so you can just use this example here. And now if you want to use multiple functions can have the same name as long as the number and or type of parameters are different. This is a simple note which is saying us that like multiple functions can have the same name as long as the number and or type of parameters are different. Like in multiple functions you can just have same name which can be as long as the number, and you can also use different type of parameters which are different. So like this I am using different parameters in all the functions which I have created. Like here I have used init x, init y, then here I have used in second function which is double x, double y, means both parameters are different from each other. So that's why we will be just using the same function here but with different void values, because we will be returning different values in the output. That's why we have called this init main, and we are just putting different values so that we can get our output printed correctly. So I hope you understand if we are using these things here, so how we are getting output. Now we have to just work practically as well. Like if I am printing these all things, so what output I am getting. What I'm going to do is here, first of all, I'll be copying this example which will be having two functions that will be adding numbers of different types. So now we will be seeing if we are just pasting this example and if we are running this example, so what output I'm getting. I'll be simply moving on to Google Chrome and I'll be just removing this here, and I will be just writing here, like in this video I'm just telling you about what is function overloading. So I will be just simply writing here function overloading in C++, and after that I'll be pressing enter here, and after pressing enter you can just see my REPL file has been created, and I'll be just adding the starting codes here which is include iostream and then using namespace std, and after that I will be moving down and pasting all the things which I have copied. The first function which we have printed as plus func in it, in which we have added two different parameters. Then in second function we have printed two other different parameters in which we have written same values like return x plus y, and at the top function as well we have printed the same value as return x plus y. And now when we are just calling this init main function, so in this init main function we are getting different values, means we are getting all these two functions printed and called. So the first function we are getting is plus func init, which is the first function, and in this function we are calling two values which is 8 and 5. In second function we are calling again two values which is 4.3 and 6.26, and then after that we are getting init and double, so that when we will be running this function, so we will be getting the init output in this init thing, and when we will be running this double function, so we will be getting the output in this double value which we have written here with the count. What I'm going to do is now I will be just running this here. So for running I'll be pressing control enter, or you can press this run button as well. After running, the first value which we are getting is 13 and the second value which we are getting is 10.56. Why we are getting this value? Because if we add 8 plus 5, so it's 13. You can just add it on calculator as well, but it's not a big deal, but we can just check the answer to confirm all the things. You can just see when we are adding 8 plus 5, it is 13. And now if we add this 4.3 with 6.26, so the answer you will be getting will be as 10.56. Now the init value we are getting is as 13 because we are adding x plus y in the first function, and when we add 8 plus 5 together, so we are getting the answer as 13. Then in double function we are getting two values. Double means that you can add the point values, means you can add two values as decimal values as well if you want to write, or you can add normal integer value as well. But in integer you can only add integer value, not any decimal value. In double you can add decimal value as well, like we have added 4.3 and 6.26, and in function we have called x plus y, so that we can plus these things together. Only you can do plus, you cannot do any subtraction or multiplication or division, but you can just change the sign here to do multiplication, subtraction and division if you want to do. Like if I press this minus here, so now you will be getting the answer as subscription running here. So if I run it, so now you can just see we are getting subtracting these two things, and now the output is coming after subtracting 4.3 from 6.26. If we do that here, 4.3 minus 6.26, so the answer you will be getting will be 1.96, sorry, minus 1.96, like we are getting in double layer. So I hope you understand how we are getting this output running and how we are just getting these things. So I hope you understand that how we are getting all these things printed here in the output. Like when we are adding x plus y together, so the output we are getting is 13 because we are adding 8 plus 5. And then in second value, when we are writing 4.3 and 6.26, so these are two decimal values, and when we are just adding plus here, so these two values has been added together and we are getting the answer as 10.56, and when we are subtracting these two values together, 4.3 and 6.26, so the answer we are getting is minus 1.96. Like this you can change the values to multiplication, division, or any other operation as well. It's your choice. So I hope you understand how we are doing that. Now moving on to the second example which we are getting is like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'll be just copying this example here, and after copying this example I will be just moving on to my Replit IDE again, and I will be pasting these things here. After pasting this, you can just see now the thing which we are getting here is like this printed. So I will be removing all these things because now we have understand how we are getting this output running. But if I run this thing, so now you will be getting a same output but in a different way. So you can just see now we are getting the first value in it as 13, then the second value which we are getting is 10.56, but now these values are coming after overloading the first values which we have printed. You can just see that. So I hope you understand that if we are overloading a function, so what is mean by overloading and how we are getting the output after printing the functions with overloading together. So if you have understand this video in which we have learned about functions overloading in C++, remember to hit a like to this video, and if you are new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell as well, so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading in future. So now I'll be meeting you next project or in next tutorial of C++ from start, in which we'll be covering up more other things here. So for today, goodbye.